the society, we're educated to chase the money. Something is broken in the majority of go to school, get a job, make money, pay
Mm-hmm.
your debt, make
Yeah.
money, pay your debt, make money,
Yeah.
pay your debt, make money, pay your debt. And I think this is like a continuous chase of make money, pay your debt, and chasing after the money. But the key is it's not about chasing the money, it's about chasing the value you bring to society.
You're listening to the Kristof Lewis Podcast, a podcast where I have conversations with inspirational people. My name is Chris, but my family calls me Kristof. My goal is to have as many conversations as possible with people who have forged their own path by pursuing their dreams, making them a reality, all the while emitting positivity and sharing this knowledge with others. I seek these people out and share this information with you, proving to the world that you can do what makes you happy and do what you want for a living while being a good human being. We'll talk about careers, but we'll also cover any story that inspires. Let's do this while helping each other. Thanks for listening. I'm happy you're here. What's up, my friends? Welcome to the Kristof Lewis Podcast, Create Your Career. This is conversation number 131, total episodes number 218. Thank you so much for your time. I'm always full of gratitude that you're here with me, spending some of your time. It's something that I don't ever take for granted. So I always hope that you can apply what's learned in the podcast into your own life, that you don't just listen to it passively, but you intake that knowledge and actively apply it afterwards. This is definitely one of those podcasts. This is one of the most unique podcasts that I've had. This gentleman works with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, and he's a wealth of knowledge, a lot of social media marketing, and a plethora of knowledge in just marketing, drop shipping. He was a chef for 15 years and then transitioned into what he's doing now. And it's really, really good conversation, full of good information, a lot of things that I would write down and not forget and be able to apply. So my guest today is the one and only David Moore. Like I said, it was a really unique conversation. I haven't had somebody on here in 131 guests that's done something like this. So I was just asking a lot of questions that I was just really interested in and I didn't really know things about. So it was really cool to learn about that. Remember, you can find this podcast and all the other conversations and the contemplations on kristoflewis.com/podcast. And you can find me on Instagram at Kristof Lewis. You can also find the podcast on any major podcasting app. And the best way to help the podcast is to share it with a friend and check out all of the other amazing podcasts that we have. And remember, it's on YouTube as well, and you can watch the podcast. It's always interesting to be able to see who's talking, and I think that's really important, and that's why I always have and always will continue to video record these podcasts. So without further ado, thank you so much for the support, and welcome to the Kristof Lewis Podcast, Create Your Career.
Yes, man. Absolutely. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I'm always humbled by people coming on, giving me some of their time of the night. Like, you just introduced me to your family, and it's your son, and I was like, this is
They'll come. They're right here. They're
perfect.
Like,
and that would be awesome. I love that, and I've actually had more and more podcast guests have their kid either in the background or in the side, and I think it's really cool actually to see like what dad does or what mom does, and have them be incorporated into that. So no, I get it. Like I just said, I left my daughter, giving her a bath downstairs, so I understand the sacrifices of time, so I appreciate it. But before we get into more of the podcast, I'd love to learn more about you. So do you mind telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Well, what I do today is I'm a media buy partner. I partner with different brands. And we drive highly targeted traffic online using different social media platforms, particularly specializing in Facebook, Instagram advertising, YouTube, and Google. That's where kind of the sweet spot is.
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting into Pinterest. Pinterest has been coming up,
Okay.
a very strong buying platform, a very strong power. Looking into different things on different platforms. But idea is that we would take a brand and help them get to those people who don't know them yet, right? Because most businesses start out with, some word of mouth or, I don't know, local newspaper or, I don't know, all sorts of like little Facebook ads here, Facebook ads there, and this and stuff. But what we do is as a whole, we create a value campaign where, your customers, no matter where they go, because here's the trick, no matter where they go, you want to make sure that you follow them, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you look at today at the bigger corporates, that's how they advertise. You touch a Lyft ad today. Oops, sorry, I said a brand, but you touch a brand today, and then no matter where you go, you're going to go to Uber. Another brand. You're gonna go to YouTube. They do it too.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to YouTube. You're gonna see their ad. You're gonna go to Facebook. Suddenly, you're gonna see their ads. You're gonna go to Pinterest. You're suddenly gonna see their ad. Why? Because they follow you all across, and that's called a media buy, where we really expose your brand to that fresh, new, cold audience. And the magic is, and essentially that's the secret of all this, is finding that proper relationship with that cold audience,
Sure.
because that's called field advertising.
That is really interesting. So, as we were talking about a little bit before camera, we're kind of
Right.
talking about like what the podcast is and what I'm trying to accomplish with the podcast. If you're new to the podcast or if you've been listening to a while, I'm going to repeat it here for all of us. And why I think David is so important to this podcast right now is because what I'm trying to do is highlight careers, all different types of careers, to motivate you or inspire you to, you can go down this path. So like we were saying a second ago, you're the 131st person that I've talked to. I've never had somebody on here doing what you do. So there's a plethora of careers out there. I've had a ton of them on here already. And I just want to be like, hey, here's another guy or girl doing something completely different that you can do. Now, I talk to a lot of military people, but whether you're in the military or whether you're out of the military, you always can transition, or whether it's a military transition or a career transition to something else. And here's yet another great example of somebody going out there and doing something that honestly not a lot of people that I know do at all. So it's kind of cool to highlight
That's
another
pretty
career.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so
It's so funny to me because in my community, everyone I know, like I have 2,000 something friends on Facebook, and everyone I know is somehow involved
but that's how it
in
is,
something that is related.
But that's
This type of ads, those ads,
mhm.
that copy. So it's a total different issue. But I just want to say before we go with career, I actually have a 15-year career as a chef. That
Oh,
I
okay.
started as a 15-year-old busboy, and I have a very long career. I went to the Cordon Bleu. I graduated the Culinary Arts
Wow.
Institute.
Yeah.
I worked with some really fancy chefs, worked in some really fancy places, and had a really amazing career. But
Huh.
um, it was just not cutting it.
Yeah.
It was just not
Yeah.
cutting it, and I kind of found myself attracted to marketing. And later on, I found my first mentor, to really kind of brainwash me again and do this, like kind of like your mindset is it's not in the right place, something is messed
That's the
up
good
there.
brainwashing.
We gotta do, like, we gotta play with it a little, like you're not good with money, and like you value like things that are wrong, you know what I mean, and you don't value and you don't see properly, and I had the opportunity to be mentored by a dude who's almost 40. He's 16-time world karate and kickboxing champion.
Oh wow.
He's a CEO of a eight-figure offline, how would you say, direct sales and marketing, door-to-door sales company, Canada's largest student employer. An awesome dude.
Yeah,
He's a champion at heart.
that's
He's a
not
champion at heart. Dude had 13 titles, kickboxing, karate. He's heavyweight too. He's a big guy.
goodness.
And he had a hip replacement, a full hip replacement. He went back and won another time and won two more titles and became 15 with a broken hip.
Wow.
Then he actually had to defend the title next year later, because that's what happens when you're a champion. You have to come back and you have to defend the title.
It's true.
So he had to come back and defend it. So he defended the title last year. Had a little bruise. So he gained three more world kickboxing and karate titles in heavyweight.
Gosh.
Younger guys, bigger guys, with a broken
Yeah,
with
I
a
was gonna
fake
say
hip.
people with both their hips.
People with two hips,
Yeah.
younger, faster. You know what I mean? Why? Because he's a mindset savage.
Love that.
You know what I mean? He puts himself. I actually interviewed him on my podcast, Level Up podcast, where I do interviews with like very interesting people like that, and I bring them to talk about mistakes in life and
Okay.
mistakes that they've done. You know what I mean, in their journey, and how they like how they see mistakes in life and business, how mistakes affected their life and business. So we kind of because I know that to level up, you gotta avoid those mistakes in life, right?
Yeah, learn from other people.
And I brought him for an interview, and we talked about this, and it's amazing, the story of literally like the battle, right? The mindset battle, like knowing you're going on a war with one hip,
Mm-hmm.
And these guys know it, and they're gonna go against it. They're gonna try to use
Jeez,
it. But yeah,
that's
yeah, I was
crazy.
lucky to be mentored and coached by a guy like that as my CEO and my direct manager, and it gave me a different perspective on life.
Mm-hmm.
But with an entrepreneurial personality, to a certain level, you just have to do it. Sometimes you just have to do, you just have to do your own thing, right? You just
Yeah,
have to go on a journey where you build your own business, you build your own team, your own family, your own people, right? Your own tribe, your own how to say your own gang, right? Of people
yeah,
who do things.
yeah, man.
So
That's
you
crazy.
have
That
to do it. You just have
yeah.
to do it.
No, that's
That's the legacy, right? That's
it.
the real impact. Um, and I love that company. I love my boss, and I can't say anything wrong or bad. And I think
Wow.
that with as hard as the work is, and as hard as grinding it is, it's one of the most amazing opportunities for people. I was there as a
Yeah.
sales manager for 4 years, and one of the greatest things that I had an opportunity to go out every single day as a manager and recruit, go out of university, stop students and market. That's what I was doing. I was marketing the company, was getting employees, right? Face to face.
Sure.
And typically we would get 20 to 30 to 40 people, and then you'll have to talk about to 60 to 80 people, to be honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you find students with no experience, zero, slim, none, guys who just want to make money, and you recruit them to go door to door, sell, and provide a service, and gives an opportunity to work with some amazing individuals and see people becoming from just college students to these savages that go door to door, man, and they just crush it every day. And
Yeah,
they
sales.
make suddenly like students making $300 a day because it pays commission, right? And it's like a student spring and summer job, um, and it pays really good commission. Holes in the grass, it's aeration. I don't know if you heard
Yeah,
about that
yeah,
lawn
sure.
service. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, because
they,
sales is crazy, but gosh, there's a wealth of things that you just listed that don't want people to miss. I think it's one of the first things you said is like I was like I don't know anybody like that's done what you've done, but you're like all my Facebook friends are that. But I think that speak towards if you want to do something, if you want to be good at something, if you really want that to be your life, then you're going to attract those people. And to you, like when you're doing something, it may not seem as important or as unique because you're completely surrounded by it. Like me, I know so many podcasters and I know so many awesome inspirational people. I'm surrounded, luckily and humbly and fortunately, by all of these incredible people. And to me, it's just like another day of like being able to host amazing people like yourself. So I think you go out there and you just create the community that you want to have. And then through that creation of that community, and then you jumped into the mentor, and like, how cool is that? Because I love talking about mentorship. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is how you said you were a chef for 15 years and then you transitioned out of that. So there's a couple things, and we don't have to talk about them all, but I do want to touch real quick on like how and why was that transition from you being a chef into what you're doing now? Was it a clean
well, it was a
break?
marketing game,
Okay, okay.
it was a marketing game. I think it was about understanding that I started educating myself a lot, started reading different books, Robert Kiyosaki and
Yeah, yeah,
Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, all the big guys.
yeah.
And Robert Kiyosaki says, not what you learned in school you should use as a way to making money. Not everything is true. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
you can learn something in school and not necessarily use that for making money. And I think I grew up in a fundamental relationship, like in a fundamental, drilling, that you have to go to school, you have to work
Yeah,
that career, you
yeah,
have to build
same.
that career. And that's absolutely not true, right? Like, and you know what? Today I say it's absolutely not true, but I used to believe that in the past, and I was 100% like certain because that's what I was kind of educated by society. But then you see these big, really rich people that they tell you, really wealthy people. They tell you, no, 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 don't listen to that. That's like just what brainwashed the masses. Like you don't want to listen to any of that stuff. That's like if you want to work and work till you're 60 and then retire 401ks, or here it's RRSPs, and you want to do all that BS. you could go ahead and do that. That's not a problem. That's like you'll end up where your parents are, right? Because like if you're walking their
Yeah.
path, that's where you're not gonna end up in a better
You're
place.
absolutely right. I'm reading.
That's
Yeah,
real.
I'm reading another book by Robert Kiyosaki right now, The Cash Flow Quadrant, and it's literally that. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad multiple times, and I'm reading this one for the first time. And you're exactly right, like that. Like if you want to do that path, that's fine, but at least know that there are other options. Like this is not the only option in life, is to do what your parents have done and your grandparents have done, and the times have dramatically changed. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
And the key is to be trending, right? A lot of people say, "Hey, listen, I don't want to be jumping." No, I'm not saying be consistent at what you want to do. I'm very keen to my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I was working a job for 5 years. I worked a job 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 8 months of the year,
Wow.
with 20 to 30 days off in 8 months. It's a seasonal job. It is what it is. Starts in January and ends in August. You work the 8 months with 25 days off, and then you have 4 months off in the winter,
Wow.
right? So it is, and I realize that that's not the lifestyle I want to have to myself. Like, I love my job. I love what I do. I'm so passionate about what I do. And financially, I'm okay too. Like I wasn't struggling financially, to beat it up and say, oh, I was a sales manager. I'm making good money, man. I would go
Yeah.
out, work as a worker and do like cash money. Like it, you know what I mean? My highest day was like $2,000, right? Daily payout, which is insane. Which is
Yeah.
insane. Plus, you have a salary as a manager, 60, 70,000 a year. Plus, you go out as a worker a couple of times a year. You make another, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000. You're at almost 80,000 a year, just working out 8 months. That's all you gotta do. Work 8 months, work every day, save the money, you know, and you have amazing time. But it was just, I felt like it's not what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not what I really want to do, right? Because I would go out to work every day, and I see my kids, they're sleeping. I would leave at 6:30, right? And then I would come back at 11:30, and they're asleep. So I
Jeez.
only see them when they're asleep. What kind of father am I becoming, right? And sometimes you look at, saying comparing it to movies is not a good idea, but there's always that movie with a sad story, dad is leaving.
Yeah.
But to be honest, still, it's a grim reality to do that every day. I
Yeah.
did that for 4 years, and it's a grim reality, and I didn't want that.
No, I mean, you're absolutely
I
right.
wanted to. The only reason you're able to talk to me at 6 p.m. today is because I made a decision 4 years ago that I'm going to change the lifestyle that I live.
How cool is that, though? You know what I'm saying? Like that's really cool.
You
That's
know what I mean?
yeah.
And honestly, I'm still in touch with Ben. I'm in great relationship, and honestly, if not this switch in the lifestyle perspective, I'll probably be working there.
Yeah.
I was making 80 grand today. I will be probably making 100 already with all the bonuses and everything. I would have a six figure. I would work my ass off for 8 months for a six-figure salary as a manager. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, there isn't. And it's good for some people, but you're right. Like, you have to identify what's important in your life, right? So, one of the reasons that I got out of the military after almost a decade is because of that. I didn't have kids at the time, but I knew I wanted to. I wasn't an idiot. I knew what was to come. I knew that if I was to have a kid, I would be gone for 6 to 9 months out of the year every so often. And, my kid's 11 months old right now. And God knows how much she changes on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. So
That's true.
so if I
And the
miss
demand changes too,
right,
right?
so if I miss 6 months of her life, like holy shit. So that was one of the reasons I left the military. There's a plethora of reasons, but I completely understand what you're saying. I think you made the right decision, but it's like I said, it's the best decision for you, and that's what you have to do. You have to identify what's important to you because. I just had a conversation with somebody earlier this week it was today about money. I said over a certain point, you have to take care of yourself and your family, but over a certain amount of money, it doesn't really, really matter. As long as you can take care of yourself, and after that, you have to identify like what's important to you and what's good for your family and what's good for you. Like it doesn't have to be the six-figure job. It can be the job that still allows you to take care of your family and to do what you want in life, but it doesn't have to be absurdly high. I think people have this illusion that they have to constantly do this, but sometimes I think it's not a bad thing to take a pay decrease if you're doing something what you want to do. And I think you just have to define what you want in life, and to some people that may or may not be important, and it might be more important to others. So I'm glad that you did
I
that for
think a lot in the
yourself.
society we're educated to chase the money.
Yeah.
I think something is broken in the majority of go. go to school, get a job, make money, pay
Mm-hmm.
your debt, make
Yeah.
money, pay your debt, make money,
Yeah.
pay your debt, make money, pay your debt, make money, pay your debt, and it's
Yeah.
just stuck right there.
Well,
And I think this is like a chase, a continuous chase of make money, pay your debt, and chasing after the money. But the key is if you listen to the bigger people, and they tell you it's not about chasing the money, it's about chasing the value you bring to society.
100%. Yeah. And
You know
and
what I mean?
I, and I agree too. Like I want to make good money. I really do. I want to live a certain life, and I'm comfortable now. And a lot of people I know, like I talk about the growth mindset a lot. I believe that incorporates both mind and body. And I also throw finance in there as well. Obviously, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Robert Kiyosaki and all of his teachings and all those other people you mentioned, Tony Robbins and everybody. So that is a part of my life that I do want to have, but I do agree with what you said. Like you don't want to be constantly chasing that. And we do live in a world where it's a lot, or at least in, the countries that we're living in, where it's a lot of you buy things, you get in that debt, you work harder to pay off that debt, you work for the promotion, you get in a higher tax bracket, like all of those things that you and I are very familiar with. That's not where I want to live. So I do want to apply again, revisiting, Rich Dad Poor Dad stuff as being able to identify what's important in life, and then for me, live below my means and be able to funnel the extra, that net into something else so I don't always have to do this, and so I can get more time with my family, even more than I have now.
If you look at the top 50 billionaires of Forbes, top 50 richest people in the world of Forbes, and you find some big names up there like Bill Gates and Tim Cook and all these guys. And I'll ask you something like this: Mr. Jobs himself, right? Steve Jobs, sorry. Um, you used to found his name there, but here's the thing, right? Is why are they there, right?
Mm-hmm.
As where society educates us to kind of look at these people like, oh, they're the richest people in the world. Oh. But it's not about that. If you look at what they do, they only have 24 hours. Look, they're human. That's number one. They're from this planet. They were born the same way as anyone else was born, right? But what do they do really different? Like, what does Tony Robbins does different, right? What does Jeff Bezos does different, right? Like he gets up and he goes to work every day, right? Like you, like me, like everyone else, right? But what is the value these people bring, and to how many people around this globe, right? We're very narrow to our neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
things that we could see, our
Yeah.
neighborhood, our bus stop, our bus travel, our school, our work. We're humans are like in society, we're very narrow to kind of be stuck in routine and stuff like that. But if you look at these people, right, and you see the amount of things they do at the same time, and the amount of value they contribute back, right? They're paid so much and they make so much just because the only thing they had a huge vision to contribute and bring huge value back to people, and the money is just a part of it.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
a
money is just
byproduct. You're right.
you know what?
Yeah.
The money is the side effect of it,
Yeah.
because if you are on a mission to bring value, right, and you're not bringing that value first, you're disservicing the people, you're disservicing humanity, right? If you have a great idea, if you have a great calling that you feel inside and you're not doing anything, you're not acting on, you're doing a disservice to society. You're a terrible human being. Because if you have a calling to help someone else, right, you should do everything possible to do that, right? To bring that value. If you know that maybe even something in your knowledge, maybe you have information, because a lot of people here, people are mistaken. Oh, I can't do business, or I can't promote anything, or I can't do this because I don't have a product. You have knowledge, right? We're in an age of information. Today, knowledge is a very big thing. So if you have knowledge and you know that your knowledge can contribute to anyone else in the world, and I say in the world because it's no longer your neighborhood, because like we spend thousands of dollars on YouTube and Google and all them advertising a week, but in reality, anyone can do that from home. I do it. This is my office. It's from home. So and here's the key, right? Is that we got to understand how far we want, and even if you have a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of talent, because that's all you need today, a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of talent, and it costs a lot of money because there's people who that knowledge or your talent can help them take them to the next level, and they are willing to pay really huge money to get that information from you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what a lot of people are forgetting, right? Even if you, and some people say, well, I worked a job in a certain place. To be honest, it doesn't matter if you worked a job as a vice president somewhere, or a head consultant, or any consultant, or a sales manager. You have value that people want to know. Because let's say like this, right? I'm just going to give a very bad example. My boss is not going to like that, because I'm going to say, let's say you're a sales manager and you have a skit of how to train, how to recruit, train, and execute door-to-door salespeople from scratch, from the street. If you have a system, right, like I do, I could show you a system how to
Sure.
do that. I've learned that from my boss. For example, right, if you're a senior manager in a company like that and you have that information, do you know how many managers and bosses right now looking to learn that kind of stuff, that have a little team of door to door, and they go, and every day they go out, they bust. Why? Because they weren't recruited properly. Why? Because they weren't trained properly. Why? Because
Sure.
their whole funnel of how you bring them to actually do their work weren't done properly. And what you know can be implemented on any business. Because if you've implemented it on one business, it can be implemented on any other business, as long as it's properly done with, with the right audience, with the right niche, right? You can't send everything to the door at home, right? Let's be
Sure.
real. You can
Yeah.
sell a lot
Yeah.
of things door to door at home, but there's things that you can't. Okay, you can sell literally a lot of things, and I've been there and I've done that, but there's things you can't. So as long as you're staying in the court, like in the court of the game, right, in the rules of the game, your information worth a lot of money, right? The information worth a lot of money. We did a mastermind group. It's a 1 day attendance. It's $3,000. It's 6 hours,
Wow.
and it's about online advertising, how to grow and scale your email list and customer list using Facebook and Instagram. Like, and what I wanted to show in that particular day is how you do that without learning any of this stuff,
Hmm.
right? Just implementing that little thing into your business. Kind of yesterday it wasn't there, today it's there, right? But what happened yesterday? You went to a mastermind group, you sat down online in a Zoom call like this with another 10 people who wanted to learn that. And today you have acting ads, or maybe you brought your team to see that, right? Suddenly your business went from not known with zero brand awareness to being seen on YouTube. Yeah, that's where we at. Suddenly you're in others people's feeds on Facebook. Suddenly your cool little ads are showing up in some people's Instagrams. Your people starting to attract around your brand. Your profiles go a little hot. You got visitors on social media. Like, yes, things are happening. Right, your brand is getting that momentum. Right, and today 50% of average corporate advertising is online.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's high. No, I love what you said
Everything
about
else, they have
systems
a lot
too.
of ways to advertise. Obviously, they do a lot of
Hmm.
offline advertising, but
Sure.
literally 50 to 60% nowadays is that. I work with Lyft. I work with some big brands, Tony Robbins, some of these, and I can tell you, Tony Robbins, for example, recently launched a program where they did $16 million in sales in the first month, and 95 to 97% of the advertising was online.
Wow. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like you said, we live in a very special age of time right now. I mean,
Zero
we
flyers,
have no neighbors. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be. I
zero
mean,
newspapers.
I think, I mean, and you're going to probably be able to answer this question for me, but I mean,
Yeah.
the cost of advertising has got to be severely driven down because of the age that we live in right now. Because, like you just said, we don't have to be sending out flyers and this and that. I mean, is that
It
true?
went up.
It went up, really,
Yeah. Because
really.
everyone could do it now. And you know what? Here's the
Okay.
trick. Facebook,
Well, wouldn't that drive it down just because anybody could do it, or what? Explain that to me.
well, essentially, look, impressions are impressions and they have a cost. And the more competitors there are around those impressions, it's just supply and demand. The
Sure.
price is going to go up. Today, Facebook is so big. I was actually talking to one of my business partners that we're doing advertising for. We're talking, discussing a software, and I thought, you know what, Facebook is so big that if they wanted to create a software for you like that, they would probably already do it. So if they didn't do it, you got to check why, right?
Yeah.
But they're so big, and now with the ad platform, they're making it so easy for like the newest person. Like if you've never done it before, it's never been more simpler before than it's now. Like, and they're just, the more they move, the more, because they're so big that they'll send out to test out data, and they'll get that data in like 2 hours. They'll get enough data to redesign the whole thing to make it easier. They're so big, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they have those capabilities, and they've evolved so much in the past few years that they allow the newest person, because that's what they want to do. That's their market, right? They're like, think about it. They're a big company doing sales. Who's their customer? The guy who doesn't know,
Yeah.
right? And the guy who knows is the better customer. Why? Because he keeps coming back, right? But the idea is to, before you can get those, you got to get those who come out first, right?
Yeah.
So they got to attract them somehow. But if they show up on their platform, but the platform is complicated and you don't know how to use it and you don't know how to read it, it's really difficult. So people the churn is high.
Sure.
So they turned down the churn a lot lower this, just because they realized how to, they started more advancing with the newest person,
Yeah.
right? They started focusing more on the newest person, and that's their interest, to
Yeah.
continuously get the next newest person.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, man. We went out a little bit out of like my scope of knowledge, so I just was like super
Absolutely.
curious, that like clearly I had no idea, and I did want to know before we get out of here for the night. I want to just maybe share like one or two of the behaviors that you've learned since you've started this journey. You said you started reading all these books, and then you transitioned from being a chef into who you are now, and continuing that journey, quite frankly. So, what are some of the behaviors that have led to your success and continued to lead to your success, however you define success for yourself, that is?
to be honest, define success is very, it's a definition things. For me, it's achieving your goals.
Yeah,
Setting goals,
sure.
setting high goals, not be afraid of. There's a few goals, but like I said, like you mentioned, there's a few types of goals, but um,
Yeah,
but there's the scary goals, right? That we set up. Oh, I want to make $1 million in a week, and they're impossible. And after they don't make, just blow up in our face. But it's the key is to set up the right goals
hmm,
and celebrate the goals when you achieve them, and that's real success. It doesn't matter how high your goals, and that's really truly success. By my opinion, is just value yourself more. That's the key, and see how you can essentially contribute to people. And in my journey, it's essentially was about lifestyle, right? I'm kind of weird, and I wanted to make more money so I could have a better lifestyle.
sure.
And some people tell you, "Oh, money is not everything," but you know what? Money will make your life a little bit easier,
Yeah, I
right? You
absolutely
have
agree.
you have a problem, you just crack a check, and and the problem is gone, right? Like you have a flat tire. Screw that. Crack a check, boom, done. Someone comes in and takes care of it, right? You don't have to fix it. You don't have to do anything about it. And people who say that money is not important, or money is super important, because money is what, but it doesn't make you happy. But you know what? It helps with buying some cool stuff and some positive things around you. You know what I mean? And you could use money to do a lot of positive things. So
That,
on a success
yeah,
level, right? If we look at it, you can be making a lot of money, but it's how you use the money. That's
yeah,
the real
I love
success.
that.
You know what I mean? Because no matter how much money you make, it's not about how much you make, it's how much you save. But the key is what you do with the money, right? Where you invest it. Like, do you put it in your business? Do you put it in your team? Do you put it in your people's education? Do you what do you do with that money, right? You buy all sorts of stuff, or do you put it towards like important stuff in life, right? Or do you put it as value towards other things, right? Do you one of my clients, he recently made, we ran a traffic run, and he made in 30 days $355,000. In he's got a workshop, a 5-day workshop going on, and really cool element. He's got his own mastermind group, inner circle, really cool. And one of the biggest things is that he's able to do that because of the huge amount of value that he delivers. Like, you meet him, and it's just value, 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 value. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, no, 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 this is so cool, and it's only day one. Day two, oh, this is so cool. They think, oh my god. Day four is like, wow, like I don't believe it. Like my mind is blowing with all this, because well, he made over $50 million in sales in just the last 3 years. E-commerce, and doing a lot of
sure.
building brands and flipping brands, and he can blow your mind with some real from the trenches. He's not the modern age. Hey, just buy my software or buy my product. Like, this dude has been doing something for a very long time, and he's a really cool dude. And he comes out, and the reason why, and again, we go back to it, is the amount of value
Mm-hmm.
He delivers to people that at the end that he says, listen, to join my inner circle, if you want to hang out with me every day, realistically, just pay me $10,000. And people, here, take it. Like, I want to hang out with you every single day because you're awesome. Because of like, what did I just learn in the last 5 days? Wow. Oh, I gotta just pay you a few dollars to hang out a whole year with you. Wow. Like a huge value right there. And
Sure.
that's what he does. You know what I mean? So everybody have, and it's only information, and it's only information, and all that. And what I like about him is when he does all that, he takes all that, and what does he put it on? Does he go and buy fancy cars, or well, he does have some fancy cars, but what does he do? What does he do? He puts it back into developing software and tools for people who come out to his inner circle to make their life easier.
Yeah, man. Wow.
You know what I mean? He
Yeah, yeah.
gives a 150,000 a month development team to develop softwares and ad and to keep growing the entire business and the entire operation because he's committed to helping other people grow their business.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, there's so much
You know
wealth
what I
and
mean?
knowledge there. It's such a phenomenal way to end this episode. It's been really informative and it's been really unique from the beginning. I have really appreciate that, but I love how you said it's what you do with the money. And I do agree. I definitely am on the side that agrees with what you said about money. It is good, but it doesn't bring you happy necessarily or specifically. It's definitely not black and white, and it's how you use it. It can definitely alleviate a lot of problems. Like, we've had a lot of problems. I'm very humbled to be able to take care of those problems, but there's still a plethora of other problems that I can't resolve with that. But I can use that money to be able to help people. Like, I hope I help you, and I hope I help the listeners by being able to afford to run a podcast for myself for the last 2 years and be able to speak with so many people. So I think that's a great thing to take away from this podcast amongst all the other information you said. So the last thing
No.
before we get out of here, David, is just let people know where they can find you, whether it's a website or anything like that.
The best way to get it to find me is obviously on Facebook. Between all the software development and things that and apps that we build with Facebook for Facebook, I'm always there. It's kind of my maybe it's old, maybe I'm old school, but my profile is public and everything that I have there is kind of public. I also have an Instagram and stuff like that. But to be honest, I want to take an opportunity and actually even let you know, okay?
Okay.
Because I think that this is gonna bring value to you. Maybe it will bring value to your guests as well. Is that one of my biggest mentors in life, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, because we talked about information, we talked about value, and one of the biggest things that we what I learned with from being a partner with these two guys is the age of information and what you can do. So maybe this is going to bring value to your listeners as well, because what they did is Tony Robbins. He's the information guy. You know what I mean? He's always been the information dude, right? Like for 40 years, been selling information worldwide. Then Dean comes out, and Dean blows up this real estate. Dean Graziosi blows
Yeah,
up
yeah,
a real
yeah.
estate agent.
Yeah,
Then
I love
comes
those
out
guys.
with
They're awesome.
right? And they last year we had an opportunity to partner as a media buy partner with these two awesome dudes for their new program. It's called Mastermind, and it's how to build masterminds, right? It's how to, and here's the cool part. There's a lot of different programs out, but what I like about it is that it starts from the information in your head to a process. So they actually created a software. Here's the cool part. They created a software that it's an implementation software that can extract the information from your brain. Okay,
Yeah,
that's the cool part. Okay, it's a magic. Dean has a magic to it, right? He kind of created a process where literally you go through the process of whatever workshop. Just think any workshop in the world, right? That you want to make. You can go in. You know what I mean? You can sit down, watch the videos, write down what he's telling you. Go in, do it really quick, and then boom, you have a workshop done. Now the software takes you through a process where it actually helps you launch all that and promote all that while Dean is kind of following it. It's really, really
sure.
cool. And I think it's a revolution
Yeah,
it's a revolution in the age of information. And here's the reason why. A lot of people are concerned that they're going to need a book, right? Or if you wanted to make money from home, right? Or you wanted to make money online, or whatever the case is, right? If you needed to make money, but you have that information in your head, there hasn't been a way. And I could testify to almost $30,000 in sales for a mastermind that we did a 1 day mastermind and online, right? Using that program. Literally, we came in, we wanted to do that. We needed money in the business. We needed to flush in some cash. You know what I mean? We said, okay, we promoted the program. Let's drink the Kool-Aid and let's follow the program, right? And we did it. And I must say, there's a testimonial for success there. And I think it's one of the biggest ones. And if you guys want to check it out,
Yeah.
it's coming up. It's going to be February 23rd. They're going to launch. It's an amazing, by itself, it's an amazing way. I was there last year. It's a big event. There was almost 250,000 people watching worldwide. It was online. It was so big that no webinar platform could hold it. They had to use like Twitch and YouTube to stream it. It was so big. 60,000 people active during the webinar. It was amazing. Tony Robbins, I've been a fan for like 10 years, 15 years. And Tony Robbins, I've been on some of his events, seen his videos. You might have seen his videos as well.
Yeah.
He was on fire to deliver because he knew he has a whole like 3-4 football stadiums right now. Look at him, and he was on fire. And it's just amazing to watch how these people do what they do. And I highly recommend it to everyone just to come out to their kind of. It's a masterclass. It's Tony, it's Dean, it's Russell Brunson as well, talking about funnels and talking about online growth. How Russell came into their gig and became a partner. And it's very worth it. And if you guys want to check it out, I have a link as a partner. So cool. I've got a link for you guys, davidmorekbb.com. And if you guys decide to join the program, we'll actually have some really cool bonuses for you as well. But regardless of the bonuses, go check it out, davidmorekbb.com. Even if you decide not, because they're going to make you an offer at the end. They have a course, like I said, they have a software in the course. They'll make you an offer. A very unique one, by the way, with so much coaching. It's just unbelievable. I bought it as a partner. Just like the value inside. I've done a lot of online trainings and courses throughout the past 5 years of me running an online marketing agency. And I can tell you that course is like, it's you know what I mean? It's just like, it's the two dudes that came out and said, listen, you don't need courses, you don't need books, you don't need anything. Listen to what you do. You sit down, you do this thing with the software, you follow the step-by-step, the calendar, you do it, you launch it, you make money, and you're like, aha, right? Dang. Because the information in your head is valuable.
Yeah, man. Well, I wrote it down, and you guys will all be able to see that in the show notes, wherever you're at, if you're on YouTube or on iTunes or anything like that, Spotify's. Check it out. Definitely very interesting, David. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here. That was, fantastic, like I said, really unique, really pleasurable, very informative. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
You for having me.
Yeah, man.
Great opportunity, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned a lot from you, man. It was awesome, so thanks.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.